Hey there everyone, it's Michael, and during this video today I'm going to share with you the best nootropic stack to take when you're cramming for an exam. And one of the most common questions people think is, okay, I've got an exam, how do I study for it? What are the best nootropics to take? So in this video, I'm going to share with you the best stack that has really worked for me. If you do get value from this video, then consider subscribing and drop a like, and let's jump right into it. In designing this nootropic stack, I was looking for supplements that you can take for 14 to 30 days consecutively without building any sort of a tolerance or having negative side effects. So it's going to depend how far you are out from your big test or your big exam. And what's so is you can take them into your exam date, so you wouldn't adjust anything on the exam date, you wouldn't take any risks then. And then after the exam, you can take time off of these supplements, because these are supplements which are strong in the sense like you wouldn't want to take them for a couple of months of daily use. And hey, if you're like only a couple days out from the exam, I hate to say it, but that's your fault, and there's no nootropic stack that can really cure for lost hours of studying. So I'm wishing you good luck, but this is a stack assuming that your exam is at least a couple of weeks out. And at the end of the video, I'm going to address caffeine and modafinil questions, because they are tools that you can use for studying, but of course there are some caveats. Let's take a quick look at each of the nootropics so you have an idea of what you're consuming. The first being L-Tyrosine. This is an amino acid that's found in lean meats like chicken breast. It's also found in egg whites. But when you take it free form, so without ingesting other calories or other amino acids, it has a very powerful effect of making you more alert, helping you boost concentration. It's really effective for those of you who may have like ADHD or have general difficulty with concentrating on things for a long period of time. It kind of feels like caffeine, although caffeine is a little bit more physically stimulating. L-Tyrosine isn't as physically stimulating, but mentally, within 30 minutes of taking it, you can definitely feel a noticeable effect. So common doses of L-Tyrosine are 500 milligrams up to 1 gram. I would recommend that you keep it at 500 milligrams. If you do see a good benefit, then maybe you can take 750. But the important thing to note with L-Tyrosine is you want to ensure you're taking it in a fasted state. So don't consume it with a meal, because you'll likely really not notice it working. And it has a neat use pre-workout as well. It's known to help with fat burning and to help with performance, specifically when you're using it with caffeine. So L-Tyrosine, that's the one ingredient in this stack which is going to be responsible for you like getting to work in the first place. The next ingredient we have is Bacopa Monneiri at 300 milligrams. You can take it up to 500 milligrams twice per day. I recommend you start off on the lower side, because it can be somewhat demotivating if you take too much of it. And where I like Bacopa Monneiri specifically is for learning retention and improving your memory. When I first started taking Bacopa Monneiri, I noticed like things were way easier to remember, short term, long term. It seemed like I could read material and absorb the information a lot quicker than without it. And after I stopped taking Bacopa, it was clear to me that my memory was much better, and for that reason I pretty much went on Bacopa, and I take very little time off of it because it is damn effective. It's an adaptogen, meaning it's a nootropic to help you reduce stress or have a higher capacity to tolerate stress. And what you'll like about it, similar to L-Tyrosine and some of the other nootropics, is that it's naturally occurring. Guys, this is not a man-made supplement by any means. I'm not saying that makes it safe to overconsume, but it makes it a great ingredient in this specific nootropic stack. Our next ingredient we have here is Rhodiola Rosea. And what I like about Rhodiola Rosea, it's really good at helping you like kind of grind through, especially during the middle of the day when you're a little bit tired. It feels like taking a nap. We call it a nap in a pill, because that's how it feels. It's like a nice reset. It makes you mentally clear, and it allows you to make the second half of the day just as effective as the first half of the day. And where it has a neat use is in the morning. If you're somewhat sleep deprived, there's some great research showing that Rhodiola Rosea is one of the herbal adaptogenic nootropics that can really help people in a sleep deprived state. So not only will it mentally actually give you clarity, but physically as well. I found that there are days in which I'm pretty tired, but I take some Rhodiola Rosea pre-workout, and it seems to give me like a really good boost. And I like it for that purpose, and feel like it's a very necessary part of most nootropic stacks, as it won't specifically help you with studying, but it'll help you in sales. It'll help you pretty much if you're one of those people who has longer work days, anything more than like 6 hours a day of intense work. Definitely Rhodiola Rosea is something you want to look into. So the dosage which I recommended was 300 milligrams twice per day. Literally no side effects are heard of, and this is one of those nootropics that I'm always getting feedback about. People are saying, Michael, thanks so much for introducing me to Rhodiola Rosea. It's doubled my income, or it's helped me in one way or another, and it definitely would go in my top 5 nootropics. And the next nootropic we have is Noopept. Noopept, it may not be that noticeable. You may not feel it when you take it, but look at the objective measures and trust that this stuff really works. It will yield good results provided that you have some sort of way of like measuring the output. So for me, what that looked like was when I started using Noopept, I noticed my income and my sales, it skyrocketed. And then in a practical sense, when it came to studying, it also helped me with learning, remembering things, and making me work and have the work ethic that I needed to basically outwork my competition, outstudy them. That's what it does. You feel a lot more competitive when you're taking it. Some people do notice it upon ingestion within a couple of hours. Some people don't. But the best thing you can do with Noopept is make sure you're taking it under the tongue. So the dosage that I would recommend is 20 milligrams twice per day. You may want to consider starting with 10 milligrams because for some people, they can actually experience bad side effects. Headaches are common, migraines are common, some people experience brain fog, and it's just because of the fact that maybe Noopept is not the best nootropic for them and there's nicer alternatives to them. I find that like 60% of people seem to see really good results, whereas you can say 20% experience bad results and 20% people just don't notice anything at all. But I've been taking it for over 6 years and still really enjoying it. Note that this is the most important ingredient in this whole stack to take some time off. If I've made a mistake with Noopept, it's the fact that I took it for a very long period of time, and then after I stopped taking it, I pretty much felt awful. Like it almost had withdrawals, and therefore it's safe to say that you do likely build a tolerance to it. So that's why it's appropriate for this stack specifically. And how it works, if you do notice the effects, is that it feels like you're pretty motivated to concentrate on like the highest priority task for a good few hours. So it makes it nice in the sense that when you take Noopept, you can like defocus on everything outside of the highest priority. So if you like have a social life, if you are in a relationship, if you have hobbies, you'll have no interest in them, which is good because you can focus on studying for your exam. So that's why I like Noopept. And the next nootropic is Alpha-GPC at 150 milligrams twice per day. Alpha-GPC is a really important foundational nootropic. You can put in pretty much every nootropic stack because it has this nice synergy that when you add it to other nootropics, the other nootropics work a lot better. You can consider it like batteries. So is as we are going about our day, we're using fuel, we're using mental energy, and when you take choline, it allows you to kind of like refill your gas tank. You can think of it like is when you take it, you feel a little bit more sharp. You'll find that at the end of the day, you don't feel as drained mentally. Even physically, there's some research showing that Alpha-GPC can, to some extent, boost growth hormone levels, which is why a lot of pre-workout manufacturers are starting to add it. It's a very popular ingredient that way. And I find that with Alpha-GPC, on days when I work a lot longer, like for example, I'm shooting this video at night, I would take a little bit of extra Alpha-GPC prior to the event that I need to perform in, and it really helps getting me going, making me sharp. So I like it that way. I don't really expect it to make you super alert or anything like that, but just trust that as you're taking it daily, you're gonna feel like your memory's a little bit better, you're gonna feel more energized to get to work, and there's very few side effects, if any. This is one of those nootropics you can take almost the whole year. You don't really need to take time off and reset your tolerance. It doesn't matter too much of like when you take it during the day. It's okay to take with a meal or without. Pretty good overall nootropic that I would add to most nootropic stacks out there. I can't think of any reason why you wouldn't want choline because it's a really essential nutrient, especially for cognition. And the next nootropic we have is lion's mane mushroom, which is a great nootropic specifically to like make you have interest in the material you're studying in the first place. Because if I've learned something over the years, it's like sometimes you need to like fake an interest, but it's a lot easier to study material that you're genuinely interested in. And when you take lion's mane, within a few days, you suddenly become really curious about everything. You start thinking of questions that you never would have imagined yourself asking. And it's like you can get more depth on the material that you're studying. So it's a nice nootropic that way, and it also really helps with mood. So if you're somebody who has some experiences like having highs and lows during the year, this will make sure like you're focused, you feel very present, you feel very calm, you feel very inquisitive. It makes it such that you are, actually feel like you're smarter, which can make it good in a business sense as well. Lion's mane mushroom is a nootropic that I've been taking for years. I continue to take it, and I think it acts as a nootropic that's very different and has different benefits than the other nootropics. A lot of nootropics help in that they help with alertness or focus, or they'll help you fight stress, but this one you specifically almost find like a better version of yourself coming about. So 500 milligrams twice per day is a good spot. Some people do have the bad side effect as well, feeling somewhat demotivated. Some people notice they have like very harsh dreams, you can say, where they're like almost like nightmares, you can say, like vivid dreams. Some people report better dreams, meaning more REM sleep most likely. So lion's mane, you'll find it in capsule form. You can also find it in coffees. Fresh Cap makes a few really great coffees, as well as Four Sigmatic. There's some other brands there, but the type that I recommend specifically is called the 8-to-1 mushroom extract. And now that we've talked about the individual nootropics, let's talk about the actual stack. A very common question is when you should take it during the day. I would recommend that you take it once when you start studying and once somewhere midway in your day. So it will depend on whenever you're waking up. I don't recommend taking any of these prior to sleeping. Noopept, Rhodiola, Rosea, and Tyrosine will likely keep you up, maybe just for a couple of hours. So if you sleep, for example, at 11 o'clock, then I would not take any of these nootropics, you can say, after 8 o'clock, and then you should be good to go. With respect to the choline source, if you don't want to take Alpha-GPC, again, some people get headaches from them, you can substitute another choline source like CDP choline or citicoline. And now with respect to where to get these nootropics, I don't know which country you're in. There's some great brands out there. Overall, with these several supplements, the brand really doesn't matter too much. I've used Rhodiola, Rosea, Bacopa, and Tyrosine from a number of different vendors over the years. It seems like the vendors are always changing and have always had the same results. And with respect to caffeine, if you respond well to caffeine specifically for studying, then you can use it. But I think for most people, they're better off without the caffeine. I found that with caffeine, it works in a fashion that's like opposite of lion's mane. When you're taking lion's mane, you become very interested in things, you become inquisitive, but I've noticed specifically with caffeine is that it shuts down your analytical qualities, you can say. So it's going to depend on you. If you do take it, then just be mindful of the fact that it can as well cause a crash, which makes it such that, sure, you may study well for the first couple of hours, but then you're setting yourself up to have a bad energy crash and having brain fog. So there is some research which has concluded that taking smaller amounts of caffeine several times a day is better than having a big amount all at once. However, more research needs to be done in order to successfully make this conclusion. Again, do what works for you. I'm somebody that has liked just sipping coffee throughout a time when I really needed it if I was sleep deprived, and that seemed to work for me. And with respect to modafinil, I would actually advise you stay away from modafinil, and the reason why is because there's research, although it's only been done on rats, showing that modafinil didn't really help with learning retention. There was a little problem in that we seem to remember things that we can make some sort of emotional, you can say, like relationship with. And when you're taking modafinil, it seems to like shut down your emotions. Yes, you become a workhorse, but because you don't have the emotional highs and lows, because maybe you can't associate to things or experiences you've had, you don't seem to remember them. And I found that too, because there's days when I take modafinil and I get a whole lot of work done, but I don't really remember it the following day. So for that reason, if I'm attending like a conference or a learning seminar or something educational, I'm pretty much never taking modafinil. I think it's best just to keep it clean, and then you have a better night's sleep afterwards, because we know that sleeping is one of the best things you can do for helping memory consolidation, meaning actually, internalizing those memories and make sure they're accessible come exam day. And then on exam day, do not take any risks. I would not recommend that you take caffeine. You want to take the same nootropic stack that you took up to that day of the exam. So just ingest that half an hour prior, and then you should be good to go. Make sure you hydrate well. And one of the best things that I have found specifically for studying is running. For whatever reason, when it's exam time, I make sure that I get like a 20-minute run-in 4 or 5 times a week. It seems to work well for me. I want to know what works for you. Share with me outside of nootropics or with respect to nootropics, what works with you specifically for learning. Do consider subscribing if you want to learn more about how nootropics can help you with your life and your business. I found like the subscribers of this channel, they seem to know so much more about nootropics than pretty much everyone else, and I appreciate all of you for your support. And join us on Discord, where our community is having some really great conversations. And if you want to talk with me one-on-one, then be sure to find me on Patreon, which you'll find in the description box below. And I look forward to seeing you all next time. Thank you again for your interest in nootropics.